I am fine, thank you. Thanks. Really nice to see you guys again.
So without much ado, I want to welcome Camilla Nontra.
Yay!
Oh my goodness! I should come to you every day when I'm feeling when I need.
Correct. This is Sudan.
Wow.
Sudan. Believe it or not, Sudan has more pyramids than Egypt.
Interesting.
Begin to think in a Pan-African way, because they now see that their conditions are not just about that local space, but the condition is linked to all of the other.
Hello. How are you doing this morning? Good morning from California. Good afternoon if you live where Jesse lives, or good evening if you live where our guest lives. My name is Fred Nontra, and this is the Pan-Africana Show. I want to start by thanking God. By Him we live, we move, and have our being. And I'm going to hand it over to Jesse to introduce our guest for today.
Yes. So first off, it's always good to be with you guys. And today we have yet another special guest joining us. You may notice that we've got it's kind of blacked out. We're having some technical issues as far as the camera, but I can confirm that she is here. So without further ado, and I'm going to try my best to pronounce this name. I'm trying to develop my tongue here to be able to get through it. So I apologize in advance. We have Ornella Mpigziza.
That's not too bad.
That's bad. How should I pronounce it? I want to make sure I get it right.
It's Ornella Pinganziza.
Pinganziza.
Yeah.
All right. Well, welcome to the show, first of all. Yay!
Thank you for having me, guys. Finally. Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Okay. Well, I want to first have an opportunity for you to introduce yourself to our audience. Tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and what you do.
My name is Ornella Mpinganziza. I am originally from Rwanda. I now currently live in the UK, and I work within the mental health field. I do a bit of a few different things, but that's mainly like my niche. And I'm 25 years old, and I'm really happy to be here and share this this time with you guys.
Awesome. All right. Well, I want to take it from the very beginning. A lot of people, particularly folks in this hemisphere, don't know much about Rwanda. So I wanted to give you an opportunity first to kind of introduce us to Rwanda. We're big on food items here. So what's like the hot food item that people eat in Rwanda? What are the things that people do in Rwanda? And what would you say are some of the best parts of Rwanda?
Rwanda is a tiny country in East Africa. Country, we call it a country of 1,000 hills. Very beautiful, very green, habitated with beautiful people. And it's a country, I would say it's been there for like a few centuries now. And, food, we eat like regular food, like within East Africa. So rice, cassava, ugali, kaunga, beans, vegetables. We like a lot of vegetables. We like sweet potatoes, very like any other African country, a lot of carbohydrates. So yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's a few of the things that we eat, but it's very much like the same. It's we kind of like a mixed, like a mixture of a few things around East Africa. Just like in West Africa, you have a lot of like common foods. It's the same also within East Africa. Yeah.
Yes, because I think we had a guest on talking about ugali not so long ago. Was that from Zimbabwe or was that Kenya? Was somebody else talking about ugali?
That was from Kenya.
Kenya. Okay.
Kenya,
yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll talk about now kind of how did you get to the UK and how has that experience differed from your time in Rwanda?
So I lived in Rwanda till my early to mid teens, and then we moved with my family. We moved to Uganda for a while, and then we came to the UK after I was done with high school, and it's been it's been a wild, a very wild, ride, but it's been filled with um, a lot of self-discovering. I think that's one. If you ask me one thing that I would say that I've taken from my journey so far in my 25 years, I know sometimes I act like I'm older, but like in my 25 years, I'll say it's self-discovery, because as you can imagine, coming from a place where it's only black people around you. You have a black doctor, black everything, to coming to a place where like here it's, I think maybe 84 to 87% white. It was, a whole new world, a whole new, experience. But the one thing that I think I'm most grateful for is being in this space. It has given me like a deeper connection to my blackness and my roots. You know what I mean? Because when I was still back home, everybody was like me, that there was no need for me to, to be extra black, if that makes sense, or extra African or extra, Rwandan. Like I just live there. Like sometimes when you have the comforts around you, you don't have to think about a lot of things. But when I came here, it was like, oh yeah. Now I need to kind of like pick my side and like stand in my truth, type of thing. And it's been like hard. I'm not gonna lie. It's been beautiful. I've learned so much about myself, and my people. I've learned more about Rwanda since I've been here, about African countries in a whole, and so it's been beautiful. Yeah.
Okay. I'm curious as to how long it took for you to realize that being black makes a huge difference in the UK.
Oh, oh wow. So if I could go just a little bit back, I am from the ethnic group of Tutsi, so I understood like oppression and that I understood that in a way. So it didn't take me too long to kind of like just make sure that to understand and correlate the situations. But the first year definitely was hard because within our East African culture, there's this thing that we do, which I don't know if it's a good or bad thing, but in my case, it has been more harmful than that. We're super polite. So we're polite to our fault. So at first, like for the first, let me say 6 months, I didn't catch on a lot of things. And then when I started catching on because of my politeness, the way I was raised, I didn't speak up. And then that was very hard, and I had to kind of like work into that. But I would say it was a whirlwind. You hear racism, but once you face it's a whole it's a whole new world once you face it. It's like you feel like you're in the Matrix. They're like, this can't be happening. But yeah, it was quite a different experience. I would say it was very different. It was hard. I'm not gonna lie.
Absolutely. So in the UK, you said that you are working in the mental health space, correct? What was your interest in trying to do that?
I think so from growing up, I've always been the type of person who wants to understand like why do people act the way they act, why do people do the things they do. I've been that person for a very long time. Like from when I was young, like I always like I'm quite analytical, and I'm quite a deep thinker. So it was kind of a given that was what I was gonna do. But then again, when I came and experienced so many, it's like that level of that different culture, like I had to like I definitely wanted to get to the bottom, because like I feel like with these like within the system that we are all raised in, there are things that we tend to accept just because that's how things have always been. But because for me I had been used to something a bit different, I know it happens, but like in my head it didn't click why. Like I understand, but why do you think this can go this way? So it kind of like pushed me even further once I came here to kind of like go into that and understand like the mind and how it works, and also understand like the social constructs we live in. So that would say what was one of the reasons, and also understanding how mental health is important, especially for Black people, I thought I felt like that was like the right route to go for me. Like my dream would be to open up like spaces for like Black women in particular to be able to, be afforded, the space to, deal with their mental health and, care for their mental well-being. So yeah.
Absolutely. So I've got a lot of questions that are going to kind of break down to what you've talked about before. For those who may not know, so I met Ornella on TikTok. This is one of those situations where, you see people commenting and you're like, oh yeah, they sound cool. And I just reached out, and I know I'm the stranger that just kind of reaches out to people on TikTok from around the world. And she responded, but I met her because I felt like there was a lot of the sense of Pan-Africanism in Ornella. We were meeting because as you all know, we talk about every week on TikTok. There's somebody who apparently puts these African-American versus African like themes on TikTok to make people pick sides. And I always try to, look out and find people who are trying to bridge the gap like we are. And I feel like Ornella does that. So my first question to you is why, or who, if you happen to know, do you think causes these divisions, and what is their purpose behind that?
Like I answer most of my questions, the white man. But I think it's a byproduct of white supremacy, to be honest. I think it's what happens, and what for them to keep us keep us oppressed and keep us from looking at the real issues. What they do, they pit us against each other, right? So I think that is the main problem. It's that there is that sense of like anti-Blackness, and they just try to pretty much like pick us apart and somehow tell us that we're different from each other. You're from Africa, so you're not from the same as an African American. We don't have that problem here as much because like the people most Black people are here are like maybe at if I say as far maybe I would say third generation, fourth generation at best. So here, like everybody's still like connected to either their Caribbean side or their African side. So and the culture, so it's not as much. But I think in America there's that thing of like just being like, oh, you're not like them, because there is the way African Americans are portrayed within on the world stage, and then there is the way they portray Africans as barbaric, poor, primitive, and all of that. So I think we kind of both like. We also grow up in these systems, and we also conditioned in the same way. So we pretty much fall victim to those portrayals and those props they put out of us. And yeah, it's sad. I do think that there are more people that want unity than separation. But looking at it and being in those spaces and seeing people discuss, it is sad. But I think like that's why people like us who wants Pan-Africanism, who wants like the community to come together, the Black diaspora to kind of like bridge the gap and all work towards one goal. I think there's more of us than there is of them, and I hope it stays like that.
Well, I'm always happy to see. Oh, I'm sorry, Fred. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
So, okay. So, what do you think are some practical steps to bridging that gap between continental Africans and Africans from the diaspora?
To me, I think it starts with us, right? So even for us, like who do identify as Pan-Africanists, we have to understand, all of us, that we are raised in this world, like we are raised in this system that creates race. We are raised in this system that creates white supremacy, right? So we are also privy to the same conditioning. So we have to first start doing the work within ourselves. I call myself a Pan-Africanist, but I also am very aware that there are, to some extent, I probably still have some level of anti-Blackness, however minute that might be. And my job as a person, for my responsibility to my own person and to the people around me, to make sure that I unlearn that. So I think that's the first thing. And secondly, I think the people that are on the quote unquote right side, so on the Pan-African side, I think we need to do more speaking up. We need to hold our own people accountable. I don't tolerate hearing like anti-African American rhetoric around me from my own African people, right? I don't tolerate it on either side. And then also I feel like we need to have honest conversations and not, I feel like we're always on the defense, right? So if I hear something about Africans, I'm ready to jump. If African Americans do hear the same thing, they're ready to jump too. So I think we have to be able to create spaces where everybody can come from a place of, I want to understand. I know I've hurt each other. We might have like negative feelings towards each other, but how do we work to like bridge that and create spaces where these conversations can be way? Because I do believe there is a reality and truth to what some African, like to how they feel. I do think that yes, Africans sometimes we are looked at as
We lose her.
Ornella? Uh-oh. Sounds like we might have lost her. Oh, man. I hate when they cut off. She was making really great points.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me, I'll shoot her a message on this.
Oh, she's on twice. Oh, you're on twice. Could you?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're on twice.
Yes.
Could you remove one of them? I think when I remove you, okay, there we go.
Perfect.
Oh, yeah. So she was making a great point about bridging the gap, and we need to realize we're one people, and we have more in common than we think, and also we need to educate ourselves about each other and the history. And if we study the history didn't just start after colonialism or after we're enslaved. The history goes way back to know that we too resisted the fight against those who came to capture us, or those who tried to sell us. There was a fight, and people defended till the death. And we also have to know that history spans way before colonialism. Colonialism is just less than independence, less than most African countries are less than 100 years old. It's not. That's not where the history started from. It started way before.
Absolutely.
Ornella is back.
Do we have you?
I'm so sorry, guys. I don't know what's going
Not a problem.
on. Can you hear me properly?
We hear you. Yeah. We were laughing because we didn't want to cut you off in the middle of a great point that you were making, and it looks like you dropped off on us. But you were telling us the inspiration behind one, why you feel more so in a Pan-African way that we should all be united, and also why you think these divisions are being stoked by the white men, as you call it. So I'm curious now as to like what techniques, like Fred was asking, what techniques do we implement in order to get around some of these divisions that have been pre-programmed and conditioned in our mind?
As I was saying, I think like I said, like there needs to be the conversations between the both of us. Like we tend as people to be in echo chambers. So I'm gonna come and chill with you and Fred because we think the same. I'm going to probably most likely be attracted or go towards the people that are the same as me. But I think it's okay to want to bridge the gap and talk to the people on the other side. I think these conversations need to happen. And I think like they have to get ugly before they get better. because that's the process of healing, you know. And then also, I think education is very important. Like within Africa, right? I studied in Africa, and I did, you know, my history in Africa, and it's crazy, but I don't know, maybe Fred did the same, but in Africa, in class, we would talk about colonization, and they would, like, if you're doing a test or whatever, they'll be like, give us 15 advantages and disadvantages of colonization. So the way they portray it to us is like it was equally as good, and mostly actually, like, it had its good parts. Yes, there was a little bit, yes, it was colonization, but like it wasn't that bad, you know. Like there is that, like, the way it is portrayed is the same thing the way it is, like slavery is portrayed in America. So I think education is also very key, because like the books we read in our history classes are books written by white people. So I think that education, like, also, you know, trying to focus on that in order for Africans to understand that, you know, like we have also been, we have also been messed around by colonization, and also understand how it affects us up to now. Because like, when I came in, I heard Fred talking about most African countries are like 60 to 70 years old, you know, with the exception of Ethiopia. And that by itself, and Liberia, yeah. But that by itself is like, we're very young, you know, and there's a lot of things that we haven't like understood yet, and like kind of like picked apart to be able to dissect and see how we can move forward. And I think the first thing is telling the right history, doing the right education, and also trying to like having these very important, very sensitive, sometimes very triggering conversations in order to be able to bridge the gap to move forward. And also, I think, you know, trying to help with Africa with like the issues that are in Africa. I think once people are also focused on trying to survive, trying to, you know, provide for their families, they can be able to kind of like open up more and look at different other things, you know. But yeah, I think those are, to me, like, I think that's one way we can like try and, you know, bridge the gap and actually move in the right direction. Because to be honest, the difference between Africans and African Americans is we were colonized at home, and they were, you know, taken as slaves. But it's the same thing, because if you look at what happened in Congo, over 15 million people were killed, you know, and that by itself, like the way they were treated, you know, they used to cut off their hands, cut off their feet, the same thing that happened in America. So I think we have to understand that we have more in common than we do like differences, because we it's the same thing. It was just done on two different continents. It happened to us at home, and for African Americans, it just were taken there and they were violated elsewhere. But we have more in common than we think. Yeah.
That's exactly what I was talking about when you got cut off. That, you know, we need to educate ourselves. Education, it starts with education. When we know that we have similar experiences, and when we see all the great things that were done and the discoveries that were done by our ancestors, you realize that we come from greatness, and that will bring us closer together rather than pull us apart. Because this part of the divide is that we don't know our history and we don't see how connected we are. And there's this narrative that some of the history of our brothers and sisters in the Americas started from the Caribbean, which is not true. I mean, it started all the way from the continent, and colonialism, which is just 70 years, doesn't tell the whole story. You don't start the history of the UK or Germany from just 70 years ago. No, we also have a history that spans way, you know, from 3,000 BC.
Years.
Yeah, 5,000 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with all of that. I agree with all of that. And I also think, you know, the problem with white supremacy is we have been conditioned to it because it's everywhere. It's on the things that we watch on TV. It's on the things that we read about. And it reinforces these notions that we know for a fact aren't true. But for some reason, I think the lack of exposure to one another makes people fill in the gaps and voids of things that they don't know with the imagery that has been suggested to them, right? So for, from our perspective of Black Americans, particularly if you were, let's say, a low income Black American household that didn't get a lot of exposure and didn't really travel and don't have those opportunities, right? Then if everything that you know about Africa is based on what you get from the news, the imagery, of course, is not going to be good. And until you do your own research by getting to know people from the continent and going to the continent and learning more, even just a Google search at this point to actually see, like, you'd be surprised. There are so many people who don't know that there are cities in Africa. Like, they don't know about that. They think it's all the Santa Claus looking white guy going out, talking to kids. And what's funny is the kids that he's talking to largely aren't even in Africa. Those kids are in Detroit. Those kids are here, right? So it's amazing that image has been able to go worldwide, but yet when there's something positive to discuss, like I even go now and I teach my son about the university in Mali and Timbuktu and Mansa Musa. Like, we don't get those lessons here. So for people to understand kind of how great society was before this influx of Europeans and whoever coming in to ravage the country and take the resources and take the people and all that, you really get broken from understanding a full picture of what your value is. And I always like to joke and say, look, at the end of the day, we're all cousins. We just don't know it, right? Like, we're all related. And so at some point, we have to be able to get over some of these hurdles and understand that we can't rely on media to do the work for us, right? We have to go and we have to do the work for ourselves. And I think that's why I always say on TikTok, whenever I see, because it happens every week, whenever I see this, like, this division, I always think there's some white guy sitting back laughing, right? Just laughing at people fighting each other over nothingness, right? Because there's more time that we get to be stagnant while they take advantage. So I'm curious now, and I want to shift a little bit. I don't have a lot of exposure to the UK in general. Like, I know people who have talked about race issues in the UK, have talked about policing issues in the UK, but I don't really have a good grasp on what are members of the Black community, or at least, our people in the UK. What are we dealing with there? How does it differ from, the racism in other places that you may see across the way? Is it more subtle? Is it more open? Like, what was your experience with that? Uh-oh, did we lose you? Ornella? Uh-oh. We might have lost her again. Okay.
We lost her?
I think we lost her. Let me...
She can't. Yeah, she's connecting with another. Let me remove this one. Okay.
Ornella?
Ornella, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Yes, I was just asking.
No, I heard you. Your question.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard you. It just was lagging. I don't know what's going on, guys. Please bear with me.
No problem.
I would say so this is how I kind of like look at so the racism in America and the racism in the UK and why they can be different, even though they're both as bad. I don't think one is more than the other, and I think it has more to do with the culture. So I think I've given this example before, Jesse, but like, two guys went to rob the bank, and one kept the money under his mattress and the other one kept it somewhere else. So the police is come and see, like, you have the money under your mattress, it's right there, right? Whereas the person, if the money isn't in your face, it's gonna be harder to prove. It's gonna be harder to explain, like, oh, this person stole. And so it's the same thing here, because I feel like
Uh-oh. I think we lost you again, Ornella. All right. Well, just so you all know, I mean, this is a live show and we are connecting on several different, not just time zones, but several different continents, right? So sometimes we run into these issues. Ornella, are you back? Can you hear us?
Hello, can you hear us?
can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, you're back on. We don't hear you now.
Oh, you're muted. You can please unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah. Oh, you muted yourself again. There we go.
Can you hear me now? Okay.
Yes. We can hear you.
I'm sorry. I was saying that there is, like, the proof is in putting within America, like it's right in front of your face and everything. Whereas here, because like you don't have like the people, the people were in the Caribbean, the people were in Jamaica, that were in, Trinidad and Tobago, like it's not right straight in your face. So because of that, like people can just act like it's the same. And
Right.
because of that, here it's hard to prove.
It's been like Jesse was saying, we have guests from different time zones, and this is all the way from London GMT time. And it's actually 4 p.m. over there right now. Okay, let me let it back on. You're back on.
Me?
Yes, we hear you.
Oh my, I don't know what is going on, but yeah. Yeah, so I feel like that's the difference. And then also the culture is a bit different. And because this country, as much as it prides itself on being progressive, even though it's not. So like the culture here is a bit different. People are not as straightforward like as they are in America. People, like, it's just a bit more like it's the racism here is more subtle and systematic rather than the way it is overt in America, if that makes sense. Like that's the difference. But it's literally as harmful to Black people. Like if you look at like the death rates of Black mothers giving birth, here it's actually a bit higher than in America. Yeah, it's literally like the same thing, but it's just like the way it's done because of the cultures is a bit different. It's more subtle, it's more systematic. Whereas in America, there's also like on top of everything, there's been part of face and very overt. So yeah.
Okay. Because the first thing that we really heard about race relations in the UK was the complexion of Meghan Markle's kid, that whole conversation with the royal family. For a lot of people, it was shocking, but I guess to anybody who's read history and knows how the royal family got their money, then it's kind of like, no, not really that shocking that somebody in the royal family felt that way.
Okay, we lost her again.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry. So you're back again. So let's switch gears. Can you tell us your experience in Uganda?
Oh yeah. Well, I went to school there, and it was quite. I'm not gonna lie. It was probably one of the best times I've had. Uganda is quite. Rwanda is a bit more like conservative, whereas in Uganda, like there's a little bit more things going on. It's very. There's a lot of culture to begin with. Like you can literally meet anybody in Uganda. There East African, West African, South Africans, North Africans. There's literally any and everyone I went to an international school, and I met so many kids from so many different places. I learned so much from there. I learned Swahili from my friends from there. So it was like a nice time in my life, and it was like also very open, like to open my eyes to so many things, and like so many, like quite a different way of living life. And yeah, I would say like probably one of the first times where I got to like interact with like lots of different people was when I was in Uganda, and I think that was maybe why it would have been way harder for me had I just gone from Rwanda to the UK. Having that like buffer, having Uganda as a buffer was like it was helpful, and they kind of like helped me manage interactions, understand like some people like East Africans, West Africans are quite like proud people, very boisterous, and sometimes you can take that for like, oh, people are being too assertive because it's not the way we are in East Africa, at least within where how I was raised. But then it taught me like to understand that different cultures. So it was quite a nice time. I'm not gonna lie, and the food is great. Yeah, as usual.
So did you what do you call it? Were you in Kampala or a different city?
Yeah, I was in Kampala, and that's where I lived. Kampala, and I went to school just a little bit outside of Kampala. But I lived in Kampala. We lived in don't know, maybe if you know places like Muyenga, Kansanga, Munyonyo, which is like I don't know maybe if you've been to Kampala, but yeah, those were the areas where I lived when I was in Uganda.
Oh, okay. It seems like a fun city from what you described.
Oh, it is very fun.
Do we still have you?
Uh-oh. Yeah, there was somebody on TikTok from Uganda that I've been trying to get to come talk to us too.
Oh, somebody from Uganda on TikTok?
Yes. And Ornella might know because I think we probably run the same like TikTok circles. But there's a guy, he plays basketball every day, and he like just takes people's comments while he's playing basketball.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, but he's just a really cool guy. So I wanted to. I think one thing I've learned about my short time on TikTok, even as an old man on TikTok, what I have learned is there's a strong, vibrant community of Black people. They probably don't get as much exposure on the platform as they deserve, but they are creative. They are hilarious. They are, encouraging, inspirational, and we represent on TikTok very heavy. So if you have not joined TikTok and you would like to do so, please do so. So you can meet cool people like Ornella and, of course, some of our past guests like Yolanda, and find out kind of where you fit in on this. I'm waiting for Ornella to drop some videos because I haven't seen any videos for Ornella yet, but I definitely love her commentary on people's posts.
Ornella, are you there? Yeah.
Let me, I'll shoot her a message here.
Okay, so if you're joining us, we have a guest all the way from the UK. Ornella, and she's also a Pan-African. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, comment, like our Facebook page, and share the message of bridging the gap in the diaspora. Ornella, are you back? Okay.
I'm back, guys. I'm so sorry. I feel horrible, but I just turned everything off and turned the internet back on. I hope this time it works.
Okay.
Because it just seems to keep dropping off. So I'm sorry. Yeah, where were we?
Oh no, well, tech issues happen, so that's okay.
We're talking about Uganda.
Yes, we were talking about Uganda when you dropped off.
Yeah.
So you were mentioning
yeah, I was saying that it's a
being
beautiful
fun
country and like you can learn, pretty much. Yeah, it's quite fun and literally every like the good thing in like what I've seen a problem that happens within Africa is like there's a lot of like it's about the haves and have-nots, right? So if you have a lot of money in Africa, you're going to love Africa because it's a beautiful place. Like you're able to have a lot of things. Whereas like some people sometimes are not able to if they don't have the money, then it kind of like you're stuck in a place where you're just trying to survive. But it is there as well in Africa, in Uganda, because it's still an African country. But like maybe compared to the way it was in Rwanda, like in Uganda, you can find space for yourself, whether you're super rich or you're average, or there's literally something for everyone. And I think that's one thing that was very different from Rwanda, because in Rwanda you have to be on a certain level to afford certain things, whereas in Uganda, like anybody can be able to send the kids to school. They can be able to live a life that is fulfilling and with a low budget. So yeah, that's one of the things I would say was great about I was beautiful discovery in Uganda.
Interesting. Yeah, we do hear. I always hear a lot of people mention Uganda or mention traveling to Uganda, but it's one of those places that I haven't seen the pictures that I need to see. So I'm gonna do a Google search and try to look up. Now that I know some city names, try to look up the cities. But a lot of people talk about it, so I take it it's a main thoroughfare for folks, particularly in East Africa.
Yeah. You should look it up. It's great. It's great over there. It's warm. It's always hot. Like in Uganda, it can rain and like 10 minutes, everybody will be like in t-shirts and vests because it can be raining and still be warm. And I love the warmth. So yeah, like there's never a dull moment in Uganda.
Okay, good. All right. Well, so I want to shift a little bit and talk about kind of why Ornella has not done TikTok videos. What's going on with the videos?
I don't know. Like I don't know. And I don't know. Maybe it has to do with the work that I do. I like to do support I like to support more than to be the face off, if that makes sense. So like I enjoy looking at other people's TikToks and also listen to other people, because I feel like that's how I learn the best. I learn most when I listen and I watch what people are doing, and and that's how I kind of like build on and have maybe something to add on to the conversation. I kind of get stuck by just what do I say? I have so much to say. How do I put it in 60 seconds? Like by itself, it's I can imagine. I don't know how you all do it, because like for me, I can go on for hours. So I don't know how you do it, but I do definitely love and enjoy supporting more than me being the center of attention, or like me being in the spotlight. I enjoy the behind the scenes more than that. So I would say that's one of the reasons. Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't think I'm
well,
that funny, so that's honest.
No, we were mentioning one of the times when we had lost you. I was like, okay, well, or Nella, I always see her on. She's providing commentary on a lot of people's posts, But I'm like, all right, well, I wonder what Ornella posted. I go inside no video. I'm like, oh man. See, it's always people who I feel like have the most to say that I feel like don't really post like that. And then that provides more space for the people who are just ignorant to provide their commentary. And that usually is what drives the For You pages, at least on my end. That's what I get.
Yeah, you have a point. You have a point there. You know what though? Sometimes I am not against like ignorant as people are exposing themselves, because like just give people like, and that to me is like my it's my policy in life. I just like you have to give them like, don't, when somebody starts digging themselves into a hole, don't jump to say, let them do what they need to do so that you know how far, if it's like worth saving, or if this is one of like the ones in the sunken place, you know what I mean? So
Right.
I think sometimes it's okay. I know within social media and the way we are, like, unfortunately, we can be toxic, and we usually focus on the things that we're not supposed to be focusing more than what we should be focusing on. I think like it serves its purpose, because sometimes it brings the conversation to the forefront, and then you get to see, because I am quite like, I'm a quite distant person, right? So people around me are also quite distant. So I don't, in a lot of cases, if I don't have to interact with it, I will never know it's out there. But like, I feel like it serves its purpose to see people be like, as ignorant as they get, because sometimes it helps, start conversations that are super important. And then for the people who really want to learn, it kind of like, once a person makes an ignorant video on TikTok, and then a lot of people, like, the conscious leaves and everybody, even you, comment on it with like substance. I feel like people learn in the first, because I've learned so much from TikTok. I didn't know it was possible, because I was one of them be like, oh, that's just an advocate to be dancing. I didn't know I could learn as much as I've learned from it, and I'm still learning. So yeah, I do think as ugly as it gets, it also serves its purpose in some cases.
Interesting. Unique perspective. I never thought about it like that. Yeah, but the people that you follow are the same people I follow, and I feel like a lot of those people are really good. Like Conscious Lee is amazing, right? So he's really
he's
good.
amazing, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We gotta get Fred on board. Get Fred to start doing some stuff there. Ornella actually uses Clubhouse too. Ornella has Clubhouse, and I'll tell you, just so you know. So Ornella, I get the announcements whenever there's a Clubhouse room that Ornella's in, and I used to try to join because I told Ornella, I was like, I'm gonna try to get in so I can be part of the conversation. And I got in into one of them, and I was like, this is so not my conversation, because I think they were talking about like what responsibilities should African men have in society versus African women in society. And I was like, well, I'm not African per se. I don't know if my opinion really matters. And then it started like falling into kind of a argument back and forth. And I was like, oh, okay, I don't know if I'm gonna do like say the right things in here. So I just listen and try to soak it up. But yeah, I think those are great conversations to get people started in the direction. And I feel like you have a skill at connecting people, even if they disagree. And that I feel like most importantly, you're fair, right? So I don't think you let anybody like jump on anybody else. You try to, referee it to a certain extent to make sure that, nobody's being disrespectful. So I mean, I think these are good things. And I think that there will be all the information that you will bring to your lives as well. And I think you would resonate that same kind of feedback.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, like, again, like I feel it has happened to me a couple of times where I do both, right? So I have like a space where I do engage in a lot of like political issues, racial issues, gender-based issues, and talk about that. And then I do, at the end of the day, I'm still a 25-year-old. I still want to, as they say, do hood things with my friends. I still want to, engage in like, just hyperbole and like, messy conversations, because like sometimes it helps with the brain.
Absolutely.
If you had a long day at work, you want to come and just, talk your mess. And a few things it has happened to me a few times where people have met me in political spaces and super serious, super intellectual spaces, and the person speak, and I maybe made a point or two that they liked, and then they follow me, I follow them back, and then after that, I might be in 3 other rooms that are, talking for the sake of talking, and then I see them come in the room sometimes, and I'm like, oh my God, shouldn't be the conversation catching me in. Like, I'm like, oh God. So, I hope you didn't hear me say crazy stuff, because, I do have, that space. But I think,
No.
you were
I
saying?
always like hearing the conversations. I feel like it gives me insight. And I know I say this like every week, but it's hard in a way to be kind of westernized, because you always feel like you're kind of outside of the house looking through the window to see what's going on inside. So you're like, hey, I'm out here. How do I fit? Or who am I, supposed to side with? Or how do I get involved or whatever? But then it's kind of like a barrier. So you're not really in the conversation. And so that's kind of what my hope is always, is just kind of fishing to see what my place is in the bigger grand scheme of African society, if you will. Where do I get in? And I think one of the things that I probably need to do, that I have on my list for this year, is I want to do my testing. Like, people are doing their DNA testing to find out what region they're from, what tribe they're from, like all that stuff. So I probably need to do that, but they do not make it cheap, right? So it is not.
Oh yeah, like, how are you gonna take me from my country, from my place? How are you gonna steal me from my place? And then a few 100 years later, you're asking me for a couple of $100 to tell me where I come from. Like, but that's what they do. To me, I feel like, again, a lot of people that I talk to, they're like, you're super, biased when it comes to Black people. And I'm like, yeah, but that is what it is to be pro-Black. Like, I feel like there are things that Black people in particular should be, given just because they're Black, because it is hard to be in this society. Yes, ancestry DNA might be something that is not maybe high on the priority list, but like, mental health, care, things like that. I feel like every Black person should be afforded that, just because they're Black, because the world we go through is not the same as anybody else. So as you said, like, it's not cheap, but I definitely do it. And once you know where you come from, you can wear the stickies with pride now,
Absolutely. And hopefully be able to reconnect and build.
Yeah, I just looked at it. The Ancestry, AfricanAncestry.com is $300 for the matric plan. So if you donate through your mom or through your dad, it's the same price, plus there's a family package, or you could do a payment plan of $28 a month. Yeah, it's definitely not cheap. It's
at all.
Yeah,
I think the African Ancestry is better, because it tells you where exactly you're from, rather than just the Ancestry.com. Ancestry.com just says, oh, you're from Liberia, you're from Nigeria, from Gambia. But the African Ancestry tells you exactly what's particular part of the country you're from, wherever you are, a particular village or a particular town.
Yep. And I want to open it up. So when I do it, this is what we're going to do. Okay. I've thought this in my mind. What we're going to do is we're going to take bets, and we're going to let our audience bet on what they think I am. Right. You need to pick the country. You need to pick the region of the country. And if you're really good for extra credit, if you could pick the tribe or tribal combination. I want to get all these answers in writing before we do the test. And then I will do a reveal on the show, so you can find out who
That'll be
was
fun.
right and who wasn't. Because I'm not sure. I've heard a lot of
Oh,
different things.
definitely.
Yes,
But at least I know
Mm.
one part of you. Because you revealed that already. Your
Yes.
matrilineal side.
Yes. My mom ended up being largely Nigerian, some Ghanaian, and then of course all the European because of slavery and all that stuff. So, but I don't know my dad's side at all. So I'm curious. We had a guest on who told me that she said she thinks I'm Nigerian, and it may be possible. I know at least on one side I am. I want to do the family pack so I can find out all answers to all things, kind of a one-shot deal, and find out who I am. I've told Fred this before. I'm claiming that I'm Ghanaian until otherwise. You have
We are accepting you.
You know what? You claim Ghana. You claim Ghana. Yeah. Go ahead. That's a nice place to start. Definitely.
Yes. No offense to anybody else, but this is what I'm claiming until the test tells me otherwise. And then even then, I'll just have multiple
The Ghana
citizenship.
Jollof got you.
The Ghana jollof.
Yes.
I think he's had jollof already, right?
No, I haven't. I wanted to taste both so I could figure out, I guess, my way into the Jollof.
Oh my
Wars,
goodness.
And I can tell you this as a person who's like from the outside looking in, whatever jollof you're having at the moment is the best you've ever had. So if you're having Nigerian jollof in front of Nigerian people, say this is the best. If you have Ghanaian jollof in front of Ghanaian, say that. And if they're both there, just keep quiet. That's it.
So you're not gonna get in trouble, huh?
No, it's so funny when it comes to jollof rice because it started in Senegal.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen on TikTok like people who are like from Gambia, Senegal, and everywhere trying to like get themselves into the issue, and the way Ghanaian and Nigerians come at them, they're like, we can talk shit about each other, but don't you dare get involved. Like, it's so funny. Probably one of my best, like the best TikTok trends I've seen like so far. Ghanaian and Nigerian jollof rice is hilarious. And I saw one time this girl posted like, "Oh, you guys are fighting, but you're not even the ones that created it." And the comments on that video, I've never laughed so hard. I was like, you shouldn't. You should only pick battles you're gonna win. And when you keep picking hills to die on, don't die on the jollof one. It's not worth it in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
For
well,
sure.
we're big on food here. We always, I like to eat, and I always like to look for pictures of other things that we haven't had or that I haven't had that I can post up on our Instagram page, just to because I get my travel list together. So I want to make sure that when I start going to these travel places and getting my passport book stamped, I want to know what to ask for when I get to the restaurant, like what I need to get. So I've got my list of things.
No, jollof is a best. It's a safe bet. Jollof. Like I have never met anybody who has not liked jollof. So like how the fufu can be a bit much. You have to start from like jollof and like make your way to fufu. Like you can't just like do an airline to fufu. Like in a lot of cases, you might not like it. But jollof is a safe bet.
That's the hard part for me because every time I see people eating fufu, it reminds me of just kind of how we do biscuits and gravy in the South. Like it's the same concept, but I guess the taste is different. Because it's like you take the biscuit, you break parts, you scoop it up, you eat. Like that's what we do, right? so, I don't know. There are so many of these like cultural things that people do here in America that we don't really know why we do it. It's just how we were raised or whatever. But when you track it and trace it and you can find kind of the root of it in Africa, it's always amazing to me. Because you have to think somebody who was going through such tragedy at a point where they were being abducted or kidnapped and put on a boat still had the frame of mind to want to create some sense of normalcy compared to what they used to see. And they just taught their kids that, and their kids taught their kids. So we're at a point now where people are just doing stuff and don't really know why or don't have an explanation, but it tracks back. It's crazy.
Yeah.
No, I agree. And that's why, to me, all these like, African American against African issue is so like, it's such an oxymoron, because like, you can 500 years later, we're literally doing the same things. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and we're completely like, completely different lives. We've gone through, our people have gone through different things, and there is like, the history of African Americans, history of Africans, and the fact that even up to now, there's so many things that we have in common. It's just, to me, it's mind-boggling, and it's just so like, that shows you how deep, like, the like blackness, like how deep this is. You know what I mean? Like, it's in our veins. So when we do the whole separation, to me, it's like me and my siblings, the ones that saying that somehow we are different. It's like, we're literally the same people, because we have so much in common. I'm sure you've seen the videos on TikTok where they even use words in like, in like Jamaican patois, and you find the same words in like pidgin. Like, we've lived different lives, but literally we're still the same people, in two different continents, if you know what I mean. So that's why I feel like, as you said, learning is going to teach us more, because we are literally the same people.
Yep.
But I saw pictures of different actors and who they look alike from the past. A different warrior, a different king, they look alike. So they have like maybe, I don't remember who it was, but Dave Chappelle, and then they have his look-alike, and then they have maybe Idris Elba, his look-alike, and all that stuff from back in history. So you see that, it runs deep. They probably were related. You never know. It could be this distant cousin. We have more. Definitely have more in common. We definitely have more in common than differences. So, and even the differences should be celebrated rather than shunned or put against each other.
100%.
Absolutely. Well, this is the last question I got for you, because I know we're coming to the end of our time. I am curious, when you decide that you want to go get away from everything and go on vacation, right? Your period of relaxation, where do you envision yourself going?
I probably would. I think I've told you before. I will go to Seychelles. I love that place.
Seychelles.
I love like Creole culture. I love Haiti. Like, I love their music. I love like, the language. I love how unapologetically Black they are, outside of Africa. Like, that probably would be a place that I would go, like, but Seychelles is one of like the places in my head that I really, really want to visit. One of like, and it's beautiful as well. Like, I literally have a whole collage of pictures and stuff that I've looked at. I've been looking for a few years now. Definitely, that would be one of my dream destinations. Seychelles.
Seychelles.
For sure. Seychelles. I say to everyone in the West, if you're looking for a vacation spot, honeymoon spot, definitely look at Seychelles, and don't look at the usual places. Seychelles is the place to be. They have beautiful beaches, beautiful, food, and great food. You go there and relax, and come back re-energized to go on with life. So definitely look at that. So this will be it for us. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to our YouTube channel, like, share. And then, before I do that, I'm going to have Ornella give her how to reach her if you want to reach her, ask about Uganda or Rwanda, or connect with her. And before I do so, I'm gonna give a resident attorney to give a disclaimer.
Okay, so you all know how this goes. Every week I say this person's gonna give you some social media contact handles. This is not the time to play LeBron James and Steph Curry and pull up from half court and shoot shots from across the room. Not the time for that. Okay, this is the time for you if you have legitimate questions, or if you are trying to follow and be included in some of these clubhouse conversations or something like that. This is the time for you to make that connection. Please, please, please don't send eggplants, flowers, any kind of plants to Ornella through the show. This is only a time for you to connect professionally. I just like to put it out there because you never know once it goes out on the internet what you're gonna get. So how can the people reach you?
No. Oh, thank you. I am since I started using Clubhouse and everything, I've been thinking of probably opening up another a more like a more less personal Instagram. So I would probably say my Instagram right now it's at Nella Styles, which is NELLASTYLZ. That's my Instagram handle. So if I can repeat it, maybe it's at NELLASTYLZ. And when it comes to my on Clubhouse, I would say I use Ornella MN, which is ORNELLAMN. So I think those are two places where you can easily reach me, kind of come and be part of the conversations that we have. I don't know for a lot of people maybe, but Clubhouse has been a great place to learn and learn and come into contact with other people. I would say also, there's a lot of things on Clubhouse. Like there's history rooms. I don't know if you guys have been part of it, but they're just beautiful. Like I've learned so much about Nigeria. I've learned so much about Ghana. I've learned stuff about the Mali, Benin. Like I've learned so many things. So yeah, definitely come over and let's get to know each other and get to learn more.
So this is it, right? At Nella Styles. Yeah. Instagram. Okay. And then the Clubhouse, you said, is that Ornella?
It's Ornella, then MN. That's like the shortened version of my surname, so MN.
Okay. Okay, that's her Clubhouse handle. Ornella MN. All right. So that'll be it for us today. Thanks for joining us on YouTube, on Periscope, and Facebook Live. Do have a good weekend, and then Jesse closes out.
Yes, and don't forget to, if you haven't done so already, to follow us on Instagram as well, at VPN Africana Show. If you want to send us pictures of Seychelles because you're there and having a good time, we will always embrace and appreciate those pictures. You might see some up today. So anyways, thank you all for watching. Next week, we will be back on. It'll be after my second COVID shot. So if I look like a zombie or like I'm falling apart, you know what happened. and we will see you all next week.
You'll be fine.
Okay, bye everyone.